There we are. Perfect. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. We're so happy everyone's here. I know we got a good chunk of people in our waiting list, so we just hop right in. Good morning. I'm Abbey. I am the marketing administrator here at BIS Safety Software, and we are so very glad and excited that everyone has joined us here today. We have roughly 350 people registered for this event, so clearly this topic is resonating with a lot of people, and so we're excited to dig into it. For those of you joining us for the very first time, BIS Safety Software is a software company that helps organizations and high-risk industries support their workforce through digital forms, online training programs, metrics reporting, and AI is playing such a huge role in all of that every day, which is exactly what brings us here this morning. So just a quick overview, a quick look at what we have in store. We have 4 incredible speakers presenting back to back, each followed with a 5-minute live Q&A. So it's a packed 2 hours from 10 to 12. So let's hop right into it. But first, I'm going to hand the mic over to our sponsor, Morgan from Set Safety. Morgan, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Abby. Hi, everyone. My name is Morgan Douziech with Set Safety. Before we jump into the future AI, we're really proud to be sponsoring today's event. For more than a decade, we've supported organizations across Canada and the US as a leading distribution partner for the safety and compliance software many of you are already using or maybe exploring into the future. In addition to helping teams implement and manage the system, Set Safety also owns and develops online courses within the central safety training catalog, including programs like behavior-based safety, BC Ground Disturbance 201, that are used across multiple industries. Through Set Safety, organizations access Canada's largest library of online safety training. It's more than 2,000 courses available from over 100 content partners across North America. Topics, of course, ranging from items like pipeline construction safety training to leadership rates, safety excellence, and more. So if you're looking for information about safety compliance software, online training resources, please visit us at setsafety.ca. Otherwise, we are grateful to be part of today's conversation and to support the work you're all doing to build safer, more prepared workplaces. So thank you all for being there, and thank you for your time.
Amazing. Thank you, Morgan. That was great. And we will throw a link in the chat and we'll send that out with a link to his business as well. So before we kick things off, quick housekeeping notes. Microphones and cameras are disabled for today, so feel free to sit back, relax, watch our speakers. To submit any questions, just drop them into the chat at any time. Our team will be moderating the chat throughout and after each speaker is a dedicated 5-minute Q&A. So any questions that we don't get to during that Q&A will be compiled and sent to the respective speaker. And we'll email all of those responses to all of the attendees afterwards. So nothing will get lost and nothing will go unanswered after today. And just a heads up, this session is also being recorded, so you'll be able to revisit it or share it with your team afterwards. And if we run into any technical difficulties, just throw something in the chat or email marketing@biztraining.ca. and we'll help you out right away. We got a few more people coming in here. Anyways, all righty. First up is someone you may already know from the BIS team, Jon Herrera, account executive here at BIS Safety Software. Jon is going to show us how the AI course builder takes raw source materials and transforms them into structured course-ready training. So if you've ever stared at a folder of just documents wondering how to put them into a proper course, this one's for you. So Jon, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Thanks so much, Abby. Good to see you, everybody. My name is Jon, as she mentioned. I've been with Biz for about 4.5 years. Love our product, love what we do. And I'm also an AI enthusiast. It has been incredible to see the development of AI over the last handful of years, but really it's an exponentially faster growing, getting smarter all the time type of technology that's impacting our day-to-day. And so I love keeping up with it, seeing everything that's going on. And I'm definitely most excited to show you today how BIS is leveraging AI in places that just make sense, right? Like when AI first came out, it was really just something to talk to, almost like a Google. People would ask fun questions, silly questions, some serious questions, who knows. But now it's come to a breaking point where AI is actually able to do things for us. It's able to make our jobs and lives easier, more efficient. And one thing I want to just mention that you should find comfort in is AI is not an excuse or a replacement for subject matter experts and expertise. You need to know your stuff. But what AI does do is it allows you to translate the knowledge you already have into digital environments at a pace that you just couldn't do that beforehand. So right now I'm sharing my screen. Can we see the screen all right, Abby? Awesome. And then first questions, if you're watching, feel free to interact, throw items in that chat like Abby mentioned. I am curious, show of emoji hands if you can, if you're currently using AI on a day-to-day basis, whether that's, Copilot, ChatGPT from OpenAI, Claude. Awesome. I'm seeing hands come up everywhere. Thumbs up. Wonderful. Now, how many of you that have your hands up are using AI to create learning and training, right? And that's going to be the gap that we can highlight today. It's like, hey, maybe we use AI to help us write an email, but as far as our jobs for compliance training and education, that's the gap that BIS is closing for us. So here you can actually see a whole bunch of modules. Maybe you're familiar with Biz, maybe you're not, and this is your first time hearing about it. They do all sorts of things from compliance, as Abby mentioned, high risk environments, and they're implementing AI in some really cool places. One of them is an AI course form builder, but that's a conversation in a webinar for another time. What we're going to be focusing on is our online course builder. All right. With our online courses, this is something that I would get spoken to about all of the time as people would reach out and inquire about our LMS to just say, hey, I have PowerPoints, I have papers of PDFs and SOPs that I'm looking for. Can we just throw that into an LMS? And if you're not familiar with LMSs, they typically require a type of document called a SCORM file. And that's something that, yes, you can absolutely plug into BIS. But what you can also do is you can design courses inside this course player. So I'm going to go ahead and begin to generate a new course. Now, fair warning, I am showing this in a pre-production environment, okay? Just because we haven't launched it fully to all of our existing clients and the ones that use the LMS, but we will be giving you a special, unique opportunity to join a wait list later on here. This is always fun, doing live demonstrations with AI. I don't know if something's going on with my internet, but I'm just waiting to get into the actual course builder itself. So just give me a quick second here. I'm going to pause from sharing my screen. See if I can regenerate this this loading time. It's usually very, very quick and snappy, but I mean, what else? It wouldn't be a live webinar if you didn't have some sort of a technical difficulty somewhere. Okay. You just hang tight here. Thanks so much for your patience, everyone. We're going to get into here in right a second. Now, the reason I wanted to do this rather than just showing you slides is it's nice to see things that are, the theories component. Hey, we have an AI course builder. You can throw stuff in there. It's going to come out with a course. But I want to actually show you the real capabilities in a live demonstration in building a course today. But you know what? I am going to just chat with our technical team. Abby, I don't know if we can segue to another speaker. Obviously, this morning, everything was running fine. And this is the first time I've actually ever run into this issue in pre-production. So, of course, life wouldn't have it any other way. But that way I can just talk to our technical team and make sure everything is sorted out here. Would we be able to segue and then circle back to me? I know I just hyped everything up and I got everybody excited, but I don't want to waste anybody's time here, even though we are here for a good amount. I want to make sure it's as engaging as possible and I don't take away from
totally okay.
the other items we want to show. Thank you so much.
Sometimes technology and Wi-Fi is not what we're hoping for. But that's okay. We're going to segue right into our next one here. So we'll follow up with Jon in a little bit. But next up is Richard, CEO and founder of Revo. Richard is going to walk us through how AI is changing the way organizations deliver training. So from smarter video to competency mapping and knowledge management, he'll give us a live look at Judy, an AI learning assistant with some real world results behind it. So if you're thinking about how to make your existing content work harder, pay a close attention to this one. So Richard, I will hand this over to you.
Thanks, Abby. First, say hi to everybody. My name is Richard. I'm from Revo, from Brazil. I'm in a different time zone and probably a little bit different weather than most of you because it's our summer. But joking that apart, today I'm going to explore a lot of different AI uses in learning. So AI uses from learning content, knowledge management, streaming with AI for competencies. And instead of just giving you a bunch of theories, I'm going to actually show you all this in practice. So let me share my screen and share the sound and show you. The first example I'm going to show you, since just one thing that's worth mentioning, Revo is one of the largest learning technology companies in Brazil. We're 100% B2B, and we're focused on all types of training, creating content, LMS, AI solutions, especially for the Latin American market. So we're going to go into a little bit of LMS, content, things like that. I'm going to start off with a really, really cool course that we created using AI. It's about fire prevention, fire safety. I do apologize, it is in Portuguese. However, it's more about the visuals than the actual. I think you'll be able to understand it just fine, but if there is any word, I will translate it. So this is a SCORM course that's worth mentioning. It is for a bank, a European bank, which has a large presence here in Brazil. You guys can hear my audio, right? Okay. Just one thing. None of this is real. It's 100% done through AI.
E aí, pessoal? Olha só como iniciamos o dia hoje. Alarme tocando e eu nem abri minha caixa de e-mails ainda. Mas deve ser...
So basically said, look, we're starting this morning. This alarm, useless. I'm going to go get a coffee.
algum exercício de simulação. Não percam o foco, não precisa pressa. Bom, deixa eu ir ali embaixo, aproveitar e pegar mais café enquanto essa emergência passa.
Alex, a escada.
Take the stairs, not the elevator. So that's how we start off the learning module. You're going to have a few interactive screens here that's going to go through the risk of safety, fire alarms, saying that Alex, he spent too much time, and then gives you a little bit of content. But then let me go into the next video, just very briefly. And this will go into a little bit more of what happens to him because he didn't leave.
Ah, ótimo. Não enxergo mais nada e a fumaça tá ficando com um cheiro esquisito.
So now he's saying the too much smoke, I'm having a hard time breathing, I can't see anything. So he's gonna get his phone and then he's gonna try to look to see what he can do. He's gonna pass through
Ah, encontrei.
So he
Mas
finds
a
a bit
cor
of
pode
content,
indicar o material.
Onde eu arrumo um copo gigante agora?
and now he's like, he finds out that he's gonna have to go to the
Fumaça
ground.
preta significa
It's gonna
está
tell him all
embaixo.
types of smoke, what he has to
Abaixar.
do.
Tenho que me abaixar. Coisas no último simulado.
O fogo e o gás estoque. Use elevadores.
É uma boa ideia. Isso é uma armadilha tóxica. Pessoal, não sejam eu.
At the end he says, everybody, don't be
Seu
me.
tempo é precioso.
And then
O fogo
that's
dobra
how
de tamanho a cada 30 segundos.
it stops. So you can see, first of all, this is another level of learning. We didn't film anything. The cost probably very similar to just a regular motion graphic or probably even less. And you can create very, very engaging learning. And this gets retention of, people want to watch this. And, we're seeing extremely, extremely good results of this. We've been doing this for offshores, mining companies. We have a video where the mine is coming down and they have to leave. And, it's very Hollywood type of learning with a very low cost to do this. So that's one example. That's the content management. Let me go into a little bit of streaming with AI. Okay, this is our LMS. So we have a bunch of courses here. I'm going to go into a course about OKRs. And then in this course, we have one of our learning modules, which is the streaming with AI. And this is a podcast, basically about our podcast, which we uploaded into our LMS.
Qual é a
And
nossa maior
we were able to, first of all, we get AI to extract all the text that he says. When he extracts all the text, what does that do? We're able to put, first of all, subtitles. Okay, so automatic subtitles. We're able to divide this into chapters. You'll see like little nuggets here from the video. So
A nossa maior tendência é
I can
explorar ao
go
redor.
and
Eu vou
see what
aprender,
each
então,
part of the
as pessoas
video
que-
is. It will give me a mind map. So here I have all the sections of the video, and I can see at 7 minutes it'll talk about this subject. And clicking here, I'll go into that
o tempo
subject of the
todo na
video.
pesquisa, satisfação.
Also, it gives me an ebook, automatic ebook coming from the video. All of this automatic. Of course, you can read, you can edit, you can all of that. But we have this ebook, and we also have questionnaire. So small quiz. And then I'm gonna go through this really quick. And at the end, it'll say if I got it right, if I got it wrong, and if I got it wrong, it'll show me exactly where in the video that part of the content is. So this shows another example. Like the first video is more the content creation and having real life scenario. This is good for long videos. You're not gonna have a 2-minute video with streaming with AI with chapters, but if you have an hour session, or let's say even like let's get this webinar and let's record it and let's put it up on this streaming with AI. That's what most companies are doing. They're getting their webinars and putting it here. How come? Because nobody wants to watch a 2-hour session. Again, of course, you guys want to watch a 2-hour session live, but after recorded, nobody wants to watch a 2-hour session. So what do? We use the streaming so that people know exactly what part of the content is where. This way, you say, okay, I want to see, this section, but nobody knows where that is in the video. With the AI, you're able to look, okay, you'll have the mind map to say, okay, that's in 2 minutes and 45 seconds. I'll watch that part and that's all I need. Or I'll go to the ebook, I'll see exactly what was done. And if you were to do this manually, this would take maybe a week. This takes maybe 2 to 5 minutes of work. AI does it all. So that's another example of how we've been using AI to do long videos and using this functionality, which we call streaming with AI. Okay, so let's go into our third tool. I'm gonna still be in the LMS. Our third tool here is going to be how we're using AI to map out competencies for different roles and how we're able to do adaptive learning according to the competencies, according to what each profile, what each person has to have. So first of all, here in our LMS, we have all of the role management. Okay, so let's make it a bit more visual. So you have the CEO, the commercial director, HR director, very basic of any org chart. You're able to put that in. After you put in your org chart, let's add a new role. And let's say we're going to look at business intelligence analyst. Okay, so I'm creating a new role. And now I have to add a description for that role. Instead of typing in the description, I can use AI. AI will generate that description automatically. So here's the description it mapped out. Of course, I can change it. I can use my HR systems. I can put whatever description I want if I don't want to use AI. And then here I have all the competencies inside my database. And clicking on this button, AI will, according to the description, will map out what competencies are relevant for that role. And it takes a few seconds here. So here I have the competencies like data collection, creating dashboards, storytelling with data, etc. And then I can go here and save it. And I do the same thing for the courses. All the courses, I map out the competencies, which allows me, when I'm in my homepage, I can start saying, look, according to your role, you need to know these competencies, and it will start giving you the courses that you need to give, so you need to learn. So we have an area here in the LMS, which are courses recommended to your role. So that's another use of AI in practice for the LMS and competency mapping. And then I have just one more example before we go to the next speaker or our Q&A, which is our AI knowledge management. Okay, for the knowledge management, what do we have here? We've created an AI bot, which is called Judy. However, a little bit different than any regular bot. It is completely trained on your company's data. And just as a demo, we have here data from Tesla. Okay, it's all fake data. Okay, so nothing I'm going to show you is real. The reason I chose Tesla is because they're not in Brazil, so I can demo it as much as I want. But so let's say you're a salesperson at Tesla. Okay, and it's worth mentioning, we have this live in other dealerships. So, big Japanese brands, Korean brands, French brands that have presence here in Brazil. We have over 7,000 people with their phones on WhatsApp or on the app doing the same exact thing I'm going to demo here for Tesla. So let's say I have a client that has 2 kids. What car should I recommend? Please answer in English. It's programmed to answer in Portuguese, so that's why I'm asking for it to answer in English. So now it's going to go to your database, and you're going to see all of that knowledge that I needed. All the courses that the user has to do. And just to give you a little bit of context, each model, a dealership or a car company has to give 10 hours of courses. So we had a brand that was launching 8 new models. Imagine 80 hours of courses about each car. So what do we do? What do we do? We cut that in half, and we put all of everything else in an AI. And now the user starts asking what he wants. So he wants to talk about what's under the hood, features, whatever, competitors. It's all here. So he's going to recommend Tesla Model Y, the description, key features, sales strategy. So demonstrate how the interior can easily be adapted to different needs. So it's going to help you. It's focused for the salesperson for them to sell. So the Model X, let's say we found the car too expensive. He is considering. BYD is a Chinese company, big competitor here in Brazil. What can I say to secure the sale? Answer in English. So we've been doing this not just for sales. In some of these car companies, we have the mechanics with AI talking all about the engine. We have a big industry using this for health and safety, about how to do prevention in any other with big machines that they have. So this has many different usages. Since we are a learning company, we're not using AI to substitute humans. We're using AI to enhance humans, using AI to empower them to go a lot further. So here's going to talk about BYD, emphasize cost of ownership, maintenance cost, battery life and warranty, etc. I think you get the idea of how this works. Just so we can go on to the Q&A or next speakers. What I always say is AI, we're going to change the way we do learning. All of our lives, we've been doing learning, what we call just in case learning. What is that? We train, just in case you need that learning someday. HR says, I gave them the learning module. We're going to change that to just in time learning. It's going to be learning when I need it, not when HR needs their report. But it's going to be, okay, I have a situation, prior situation. How do I ask this? The knowledge is going to be generated according to a database in real time, according to the scenario and context the person is living at the time. And the future is going to be just for me learning. It's going to know your profile. It's going to know all of your data, your end of the year assessment, everything. And it's going to say, okay, for you to perform better, this is the content you're going to need. And I'm going to generate that in real time according to all of the data that we have. So that's a big shift we see AI doing in learning. And that was my talk in past 20 minutes. I apologize.
No, that was amazing. Thank you, Richard. Thank you so much. I love seeing AI tools that are already running in the real world and with real results. That was inspiring. So we got a few questions coming into the chat here. And so we'll start with the first one from Boyd Hannell. So I believe he was talking about the video that you showed right at the beginning there. So the main character is AI generated along with his voice. Are all elements AI generated, or do you need to give the AI data to create this?
No, it's all AI. It's all done by prompts. So basically, things like I want to send. We can upload the client's the picture. I want a scenario. This scenario. I want an actor. This height. This color. This voice. I want smoke. I want this. I want that. One thing you'll notice even though it looks like it's a big video, but they're all 8 to 10, 12-second clips. Okay. So it has to be scripted, very well scripted. And every single time, you're probably going to generate 5, 6, 7 times that same 10-second clip, because you're going to say, okay, no, I want the smoke a little bit darker. No, I want the smoke coming from the back. Now do this, now do that. And the AI will be generating that for you all through prompts. We use a little bit of editing out of AI to do a little bit of the music and the drama, things like that. We'll add in screens. So there will be a little bit of mix, but the people element, all those actors, that's all AI and all done through prompts.
Okay, very cool, very cool. Another one from Boyd here. When using AI to create something like this, do we need to worry about using someone else's data? So the AI had to get the data from somewhere, correct?
I'm guessing they're talking about Judy from the knowledge management, because the video, there's no data there. That's literally prompts and creating a script. So regarding Judy, the main thing is it's all under. It's going to be in an LLM, either OpenAI, Anthropic. It's going to be under one of those LLMs. It's all private. It's all internal. And if you look at, let's say, OpenAI, that's all under the Azure Microsoft database. So it's just as protected or not protected as your Outlook and your Teams and it's the same infrastructure. So basically, you're in a big enterprise solution that has all the security necessary to store your data in a private area. The problem, everybody thinks the problem is the data. The problem mostly is the users, because that's where data gets breached. It's not the database. So, you have to worry about, let's say, in our case, we have the Judy through WhatsApp. So we have to integrate the HR system. And if somebody gets fired, he has to lose access. So it's more of that protection than, my content. Your content, it's already in your LMS. It's already in your intranet. It's already, in the cloud. Just make sure you have a safe provider. That's all.
That makes sense. That makes sense. All right. And a third one here from Tara Harvey. Can you prevent people from fast forwarding the content? So through your courses.
Yeah, that's a cool thing to do. What we do here, not fast forwarding, but let me show you real quick in the streaming. Not even gonna put the sound, but just to show you. We have this visualization bar. So if somebody goes and starts the video and says, okay, I'm going to go to here, what's going to happen? Over here, you're going to see that he didn't see this part. So he has to see the whole video. And that's, we start, filling up the bar that he's actually seen. And then we'll have a report saying what percentage of content was seen by each user. And then we can use small conditions. You can only go to, let me just stop this. You can only go to your,
Oh, did we lose Richard there? I think we did. Okay. That's okay. We'll see if he hops back in. That's all the time we had for Q&A so far. Just gonna wait and see if he comes back up. That's okay. Any questions that we didn't get to, unfortunately, we are going to compile all of those in a document. We're going to send those off to Richard and the rest of our speakers, and we'll be able to get back to you guys. So all of your questions will be answered. We're going to keep things rolling here. So Jon, how you doing? How are things?
I'm doing good. I think we can give it a go. If not, I have a backup video that I recorded ahead of time ready. So I'll go ahead and hop into it. One thing I will mention, I think there was one comment in the chat from Chantel. If the video looks choppy from what anybody is sharing today, that's just a Teams thing. So the video content that Richard there was showing was absolutely incredible, seeing that AI video generation. And I definitely have questions for him. So I'll probably shoot him an email to ask about that, because that looked very convincing as far as AI graphics go. So we're going to go ahead and share my screen here, and we're going to go ahead and dive into it. Here we can see a course that I was working on a little bit earlier. We can notice this little icon allows us to see that AI helped us generate this course. But we're going to go ahead and try to generate a new one today. And by the way, I already see this loading. I think we're just going to go ahead and switch over to the video. So again, might be a little bit choppy, but I'm going to talk you through this. So as we mentioned earlier, BIS is a multi-platform tool to assist with compliance. And one of the things that we specialize in is creating online courses. So right now, what we're doing is we're merging, when does it make sense to leverage LLMs and mix it with your gray matter, your brain, that is. And so here we're actually going to be creating a course using this AI course builder in the top right-hand corner there. And what happens is it then asks for questions of information of the content of your course. And so this means that if you have SOPs or documents or a PowerPoint presentation that you can export into a PDF file, you can simply supply that to the AI chat. You can see there right on the right-hand side. Additionally, there is a microphone option, which is one of my favorites. Speech to text with AI is incredible. It's way faster than typing. And nowadays, I use whatever types of tools I can for AI speech to text because it's just faster, more efficient. And my fingers need less massages when they get a little cramped up or warm or cold, rather, in those winter months. And so what I'm doing here is I'm just including information of what I want this topic to be about. Now, what I actually indicated was we want to just talk about incidents and reporting ID, identifying hazards, really trusting your gut and not just necessarily to just do nothing about it, right? When to report, when to not. Now, this is the key with the BIS AI intelligence, is AI is as good as what you give it, right? So if the prompt doesn't have a lot of context, the AI output isn't going to be as accurate or as far as what you're looking for. So what our AI will do is it will actually continue the conversation with you until it feels it has enough context to do a really good job of creating that course. So after I kind of just gave it a couple bullet points of what I want the course to be about, it's then asking me to, let's see here, who's the target audience, right? So, okay, great. We can create this course for you around these topics, but is this for a particular industry? Is it in a particular region? Who are the listeners? So that way the content can actually make sense and be relevant. So I mentioned that this is just going to be a general course for workplace safety, multiple industries. Don't make it too specific. And it then asks another follow-up question is, what is the primary purpose of the course? What are we looking for learners to be able to do and complete successfully after completing it? And I'm just saying, we want to reduce injuries, we want to help companies prove due diligence, maybe we want to report things on time. And it then is doing another follow-up question to see the level of difficulty. Now, you'll see there's a button at the bottom right-hand corner. I could say, you know what? AI, I don't want to talk to you this long. Let's just go ahead and generate the course. However, for the best results, you will definitely want to leverage all of the questions, because what it will do is once you finally answered them all and it feels like it has a great understanding, it will then prompt you to generate the outline. It's even asking questions if this is self-paced or live, online, in person, or a hybrid. Part of what Biz is able to do is help facilitate even hybrid learning, whether that's through competency assessments in our digital form tool or a classroom calendar feature that helps with administration and registrations for any sort of instructor-led training. Those instructor-led trainings can be in person, they can be online. So leveraging APIs that we have with Zoom and Microsoft Teams, you're able to generate those very easily. And so you could help use this AI to generate some of the prerequisite training or quizzes for that. So at the very end there, if you didn't catch it, it said, hey, now this looks like a great time to go ahead and generate the course. We have all the information that we need. And so what the system is doing is it's doing a little bit of research for us, a little R&D. It's taking the information that we've provided it, which, to be honest, in this example, I didn't provide it very much. But what it's going to do is it's going to create an entire rubric of learnings with chapters, individual slides, and then we're going to get to continue to use the AI for actually developing each slide in the content. So the first thing we want to see is, what's the general learning path? What's the best way to break this down into different sections and chapters? And so that's what we see here working right now. It's going to finish anytime soon. I remember even when I was recording this video, being like, I think it's going to end in any second. And then, of course, that was the second that it moved on. So we're giving it a little bit of time to think. If not, we do have the power of video, so we can now go ahead and see this generate. So once this generates, we're going to see the entire rubric here. So I'm just going to pause it there on the screen. You can see that there's chapters, individual slides. I'm going to scroll through these. It's important to note, if you're not happy with what it's generated so far, you can continue to chat with the AI to continue to make modifications, add more chapters, increase the length, whatever makes the most sense for the course that you want to create. So if I'm happy with it, I'm going to go ahead and click Publish Outline. As soon as I do, it's going to automatically bring me to the first slide in the course. So now you can see this is the AI doing a slide editor. Again, this is in beta. We are going to be offering a a wait list, so you can actually play with this tool yourself, and we're looking for some different feedback in the different beta testing, etc. And so very exciting. We are actually going to include a link, so might be a good time for that. Abbey or Mark, if you want to throw that link for anybody interested in being able to leverage this tool and play with it firsthand. So what we have here is now the AI has created a bunch of text, and it's grabbed some stock footage. Now, we have stock footage available right now as a default, but we are also releasing soon AI image generation. I believe you can be using Nano Banano to help with that. Very good image generation tool. But this will allow you to take free images online. You can search for different images. When you click that text, you can also provide it more content for that specific slide. You could say, you know, I want this to only be 150 words or less. You could provide it other PDF documentation or information. What you can also do is handle voiceover leveraging AI. So we have a number of different voices available in a number of different languages. BIS currently operates in 5 languages. That includes English, French, Spanish, Portuguese, and German, as you could see kind of there on that list. And what this AI will do is actually read through the script of the context that you've provided in the slide. If you'd like it to say something different, you can upload your own script and files and information. You are also able to just upload your own audio recording. So if you don't want to leverage an AI voice, although there is plenty of different demographics included there, both male and female, you can go ahead and upload your own audio. Now, this is where we want to be really sure with the content, because AI is generating a lot of the content involved. We actually go through these slides with a human to create an approval process. Remember how I mentioned earlier, AI is not a replacement for being a subject matter expert. It's the fact that you have the knowledge, you know what needs to be taught. AI is not going to know the hazards for your workplace or your industry or your safety culture. And that's where you come in. And if the two work together, you're just able to create these courses faster than ever before. So I created that one slide. It was prompting me to go to the next. But what I have here is going back to the playlist just to see what this is looking like so far. So we can see there's an approve and pending along each portion. We want a human to go through the course, see everything the AI generated before just saying, yep, we want to go ahead and release it. Safety, compliance, very important that we have that hybrid of your expertise. Now, I don't know if I have it here in the video, but once you've completed all of the sections in your, all of the slides within a single chapter, you're able to use the AI to then create questions for that chapter. It will prompt you to say, how many questions do you want? Because now it knows the entire content of the tool with multiple choice, single select, and it will be able to automatically generate the questions, the answers, and which one is the correct answer. Once you approve every question in all the chapters, you can also generate a final exam. Now, the final exam, you can also say how many questions you'd like. I'd like 10 questions. I'd like 20 questions. How many questions from each chapter? Because again, it knows all of the content for you. All right. You are obviously able to make edits to each of these, both the order and the restructuring. Here, we're going to be generating another slide. Very quick and easy. I'm so curious to hear different questions that I can answer. Wish I could show you more in the live demonstration. I was really excited to build a slip, trip, and fall protection course with you all today with questions and exam. But let's hear it for any questions that might be brewing from the audience.
Yeah, definitely. We got a few here. So from Alan Green, do you see the Biz AI course tool replacing things like Articulate? Articulate?
Yeah, Articulate 360. That's a great question. So the Biz AI course builder is in the Biz system. So it's currently not exporting items like a SCORM file. So if you're familiar with SCORM or any course builders on here, tools like Articulate 360 is professional course development software that you can then upload those files into multiple different LMSs. So if you're currently committed to an LMS, using something else, you can definitely play with our system. You can sign up for that registration and get free early access to testing the platform. However, it would remain inside the BIS environment. Great question.
Yeah, yes. And anyone interested in demoing that, we have that QR code in the chat. So definitely scan it and enter your information there. So from Chantal Devitt, can you publish the course in a paper format for audits?
Oh, great question. A paper format for audits. So you're looking at being able to share the course with an auditor. That is actually a great question. I wish I could see. We've pivoted a little bit of some of the functionality with our LMS capabilities with this update. So I don't necessarily have all of that to be able to show you today. However, you can give free access to a course if you would like to do so. So you can create something in Biz called a test account. And so if you had an auditor and they wanted to review any of that content, you could say, yep, let me distribute this. It's not going to be an additional cost for you as well. It's not going to generate them a certificate of completion, which is why we can do that. And we have all sorts of different tools that are available for auditing, whether it's just the quiz component you wanted to include, or you wanted to share the content or the competency assessment or the evaluation, you're able to do those. However, exporting the course as an entire PDF, I don't believe that is a functionality that we have at the time.
That's, you know what, and we will definitely answer that question. I believe you answered the next one, John. So is the end result published only within Biz Trainer environment, or can the course be published externally?
Yeah, only inside the Biz Trainer environment. Great question.
Perfect. All right, and one more here. Can you upload a document for the tool to develop learning content with instruction? Yes, okay.
Yes. So in each part of anytime you're interacting with the AI builder, you're always able to upload files, so Word files, PDFs, and videos. So that could be both from the rubric standpoint. Here we're actually in the individual slide editor, and you can see that right here on the right-hand side, I can upload files, I can talk to it, and those files can even include videos to help with the content generation as well.
Okay, all right, and I think we have time for okay, we have a few more minutes to utilize here. So from Kim Hartford, will there be an additional cost to utilize the AI online course builder?
That's a really good question. As of right now, no, not from what I've heard from what BIS is offering. One of the questions I did expect to maybe come up is which AI models are we using? So the reason I'll reference this now is because that's something that always directly impacts cost. So part of the reasoning model that we're using right now is from OpenAI, and it is their 4.0 model. If we were to switch that to something like a Claude Opus 4.6, then it's a much higher cost to be able to leverage a model like that, which we would be able to do some customizations for that in the future on a portal basis if different organizations maybe have preferences. So only if we would be using a different model, then we would definitely have to look at the cost. But right now, BIS is offering this for free, which is why I highly recommend you join that waitlist, play with those courses, or even sign up for early access if you're currently one of our users.
Perfect. That's amazing. That's all the time we had for Q&A so far, but I know that there were some really amazing questions just entered into the chat. So my team here is going to compile them into a document, and we'll send them over to John and the BIS team, and we'll be able to answer those for you guys. So thank you so much again, John. That was such a fantastic demo. I know a lot of people are going to walk away and want to try that immediately. I know I did, and I'm lucky that I have that available to me. So next up here, we have Emad, the CEO and founder of Blue Drop ISM. Emad is going to take us into some really extraordinary territory. So AI-driven simulations, mixed reality hoist training, virtual nurse onboarding, and even AI-supported forest fire management training. So this is the kind of session that makes you want to realize how far the training workforce and training has come. So Emad, welcome, and the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Can everyone hear me? I think so. I got a little quick surprise for Richard in Brazil. We have a snow day today, Richard. So this is that's what I'm looking at.
I won't show you the blue sky here in Brazil.
No, that's good. That's good. Okay, I'm going to share my screen here if I can. Let me see here. Can you see my screen? Oh. Okay, I'm sharing.
Yeah, we got
Perfect.
you.
Okay, perfect. Let's just start here. So, you know, some of this is some of what I have to show is pretty interesting, but I wanted to talk a little bit about it as well, where I think the industry and the opportunities are going. One of the neat things, if you look back to, and it was great presentations prior to show some of that, but if you think back at the introduction of TV and TV commercials, all the folks that were making radio commercials would be sort of tempted to take their radio commercials and just put the put the talking voice on the TV ads. But obviously, with video, you had a whole bunch of new opportunities to innovate. And I think this is kind of, there's AI in the development and in the delivery of content, but there's also a lot more. So I wanted to kind of touch on that. And so just a little bit, I'm an immigrant, came here when I was 7, moved to Newfoundland when I was 12, graduated from Memorial University in 1992 with a mechanical engineering degree, couldn't get a job, so we started this company. I've still never had a real job. I'm still in the class project that keeps going. This is our headquarters in Newfoundland. Blue Drop means a clearing in the ice. We rebranded and spun off a bunch of companies around 2004, started again. And today we're about 250 people. We do a lot of work in the defense and aerospace sector. We have an office in Orlando, and Halifax is mostly where our defense group is based. Large investments from Boeing looking at AI and mixed reality. I'll show you some of that. I'll focus a little bit more on the healthcare side because I think it's more relevant, but just to show how you can, where AI fits into simulation and so on. So Blue Drop, the ISM division, focuses on that last mile because, and I think a lot of people on this call are involved in that last mile. So there's certain skills or credentials that people need to get jobs, move into new jobs. Post-secondary doesn't necessarily take care of all that. And so we focus on what is that last mile and how do you get there. Our platform, we work a lot in compliance, and I'm going to zero in a little bit on that. So we have about 3 million Canadian workers for the Canadian side of what we do on our platform, and we work a lot with WCBs and occupational health and safety compliance. So anyone in that space will probably enjoy some of this. So that's some of our clients there. This is AI generated, so moving from static content to it, and again, you just think about it. I have a lot of mixed views. I wish we had more time because I think AI, I'm not, I think it's like a shotgun, once someone has one, everybody gets one kind of thing. But I do think it's going to be very, very disruptive for the workforce. And we see that as we work with governments across Canada and other parts of the world. So dramatic and cheesy demographic. I got AI to generate this again. Fortunately, no one is threatened by my AI generation skills of Blue Drop. They'll all have jobs in graphics design. So I didn't want to, I'd love to show you the CAL FIRE, which is how we use AI in wildfire management, but I will show you, and I think I have it here already. Sorry, I'm just going to move this out of the way here. I will show you the hoist trainer, and hopefully you can see that. You want to just?
Emad, are you able to share your audio?
Oh, you're not hearing that?
No, there we
Oh,
go. Yeah, so we just have a few people in the chat here. I'm not able to
oh,
hear.
sorry. Okay. Well,
No, it's all
I
good.
apologize. I didn't realize the audio wasn't there. I was all happy to
No, the video looks
outsource my
great.
work. Yeah, so let me just actually, I'm just going to keep going then. Can you see you can still, I'm back in the presentation. So I want to talk about where AI fits in that. So it's $50,000 an hour to go up in a helicopter, and especially in the military context. So we have this technology deployed with U.S. Special Forces and anyway, just different clients. But that's expensive, and it's also not practical because you're not going to go out in certain conditions that you might have to simulate. So we can, through software, just switch the aircraft from, Chinook to Black Hawk to something else with a flip of a switch. You can put in all kinds of conditions. And mixed reality means that you're actually doing some of the tactile. That's sort of the last frontier of simulation. It's one thing to kind of be in a VR environment, as I'll show you in the nursing, but you're not actually getting a chance to, operate a defibrillator, right? You're kind of clicking on things and it's happening, but you're not doing chest compressions. You're not doing those kinds of things. In this world, we are, because the cable will jerk the operator's hand according to whether he makes good calls or bad calls. And a big part of where AI fits is that we can analyze the instructor and student speech, because it's all about how they communicate with the pilot. And you have someone flying the helicopter in the simulation, and the operator, the search and rescue person, is giving them feedback. So we can flag errors in the way they communicate. We can test the way they communicate. We can make sure that they're following verbal procedures. In some cases, we can identify patterns and behaviors that need supplementary training, or if there's a problem. You can modify the simulation in real time in response to, if you notice the student is doing something wrong, or they're struggling with something, we can automatically, the system will automatically train that. You can provide real-time student feedback, so you don't necessarily need an instructor. You can get a full report where it captures information. So that's the kind of capability. When I talk about sort of the paradigm shifting, we're now moving into TV advertising. What are some of the things that you can do? And I know that this is not necessarily practical for everyone in the room. I did want to talk about internationally educated nurses. So traditionally, there is a challenge. There's many, many vacancies in Canada, and I'm sure in the US and in most countries, where they can't get enough nursing staff. A lot of nurses internationally educated who have a credential to work a license to work in the country can't cross over. And part of that is communications, part of that is cultural, part of it is different ways of practicing. So we wanted to simulate that, and I'll just show you quickly, and you probably won't be able to hear well, just let me know if you can hear the audio on this one, because it is in a different, can you hear that? Okay. Okay. So basically, this is, I'll talk through it. Yeah. So basically, there's the doctor, you have the patient. One of the neat things in virtual reality, and this is AI as well, is you can have a real conversation with the patient. So you can ask the patient, for example, you can ask them, what did you eat last night? Then it'll make something up. And did you like it? Or how much salt did you put on it? And you can have a real conversation with the patient, again, zeroing in on, and you can make them angry, you can make them happy, you can have all kinds of modes that would, different patients would train different things. So part of it is we're looking for the communication, we're looking for the steps that you follow, the AI. When you look at assessments, one of the neat things which happens in the real world is if someone is distressed and they're crying and they're upset, and you're in training, you might have a lot of people, like, you're not, part of being a compassionate or sort of healthcare clinician is that you don't just ignore that and sort of, oh, I'm sorry that you're having a hard time, but I need your consent on something. You have to be able to demonstrate empathy and all. So the system can actually track all of that, track the way you can even get into, which we haven't done yet, into different dialects, and are you able to communicate? And so that's some of the neat things that you can do, leveraging the full potential. But I do, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, I do have concerns about where this is going in terms of the workforce. Because if I look at sort of tech workers working in development, in the last year, I've seen that shift. I've heard people talk about, well, this is a really helpful tool to, oh my goodness, can this tool do my job better than I can? And if you kind of look at the amount of coding that's being done by humans or versus AI, so we've started at sort of around 5% of code was for large companies, obviously. In 2022 was developed through AI, and it's projected to go to, we're at 30 to 45% now. It's projected to go to 90 to 95%. So I say that because it is a concern, like programming, where's it going? And this is just development. I mean, there's all kinds of other roles, obviously, that'll continue to exist in the industry. But it does speak to how do you stay relevant when all of these things are being automated. And, and what's going on now, of course, is that it's not just tech workers. I think in the next couple of years, everyone else is going to be saying, from customer success people to marketing people, well, it's already started marketing, to a whole bunch of other areas are saying, hey, can this actually do my job better than I can? So that creates, lots of challenges. It creates opportunities, but it does mean that we have to get beyond sort of automating the radio commercial and just having that delivered in television. I'll just give you a quick example. One of my friends, his son is applying for plumbing apprenticeships in Toronto. And this is plumbing companies. I mean, they're not seen as sort of the avant-garde of technology. No offense to anybody in the plumbing world, but we would. And he's had two experiences where his son was having a full conversation, trying to submit his resume with someone, and discovering for various reasons that he was talking to an AI bot. He wasn't talking to a real human. Didn't identify them. That's 2 out of maybe 50 applications in Toronto. So we're already in these interesting times. So just wanted to share with you, going beyond sort of packaged content, which is, my bread and butter for 33 years. Where things are shifting, obviously, and you've seen some of that, in what we already saw. There's a personalization ability. There's the ability to also have nudges. So as you're about to, encounter a risky situation, it could send you little micro e-learning. It would know based on various sensors and various patterns and whatever. Language and localization, we really looked at immersive simulation. One of the other benefits is that AI could make sure that any changes to regulations are automatically reflected, so you're getting content that's always up to date. There is something called AI hallucination if you're not leveraging experts, and I do agree fully that the whole point is that experts are critical to this world. So because AI can make stuff up, and I've seen it. So now they're that's a barrier, and that's why you need a human in the loop. And then legal frameworks, big area, but that's being tackled as well. So where does formal e-learning fit in a world awash with instantaneous AI innovation? So if you look at it, sort of the transition, we've gone from the pathways, the traditional sort of old, and I feel funny saying the old world, because a couple of years ago that was avant-garde for a lot of our customers. Oh, we're going to do this online. That was a big deal. But now it's already very quickly, being the old world. So you have linear, presentation of content, slides 1 to 50. You're going to get into adaptive content, which is based on your mistakes and based on your context. It'll shift the content. The format was sort of fixed. It was, here's your video, here's your text, here's your whatever. Now you're going to get into multimodal. So it'll generate a podcast for someone who likes podcasts, generate a video for a visual learner. You can, support was done by humans. You can email the instructor. You can now get an AI agent that would be a 24/7 tutor that knows your history and answers questions. I was in ChatGPT the other day asking a health question, and it said, yeah, and of course you have the binge fast food eating where I said, binge fast food eating. She said, well, taking that into account. And I said, what do you mean? I was typing back to ChatGPT. Well, it said, a couple of months ago, I was talking about how to lose weight. to ChatGPT, and I made a joke that I said, yeah, well, of course I do eat 450 burgers in a binge, and it remembered that and it was trying to update my approach to whatever that new health thing is. But the binge eating is probably not a good idea, kind of thing. Fast food binge eating. So delivery, obviously, schedule timeout. You can get micro learning as you need it. So the costs for this area are going way down. They're plummeting, probably 40% right now. The marketing world has seen content creation and marketing costs have dropped by 91% in some of those areas. Localization, you have the ability to work in different languages. I think we've already wiped out a big chunk of the translation industry. You don't need human translators anymore. That's within a couple of years. I'm pretty sure they've been decimated. So you look at sort of the costs are coming down. So you're getting into a world that can become commoditized. And for the business owners in the room, so how do you survive that? But then you have this statistic, these projections for the occupational health and safety training market, that it's going to continue to boom. And you kind of say, wait a second, how can the e-learning industry still be growing if AI is making content creation so inexpensive? And the answer is multi-pronged. Some training, of course, will always need formal structure, formal classroom delivery, especially in the OH&S space and the compliance space. People need that certificate as a way to validate that you have something. But AI is opening new avenues to create value, and we've seen some of that today, that will be an opportunity to grow revenues based on that. And the definition of e-learning has changed. It's not just about selling courses. It's not about just libraries anymore. It's about going towards learning infrastructure and results-oriented safety systems. So you kind of are focused on the outcome. So I'm mindful of time, and I'm just going to start skipping a couple of slides. I'll start with skipping this one. So basically, oh, I'm sorry. I just realized I don't have this on my, I don't have this here. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, so basically the Business Insights, have said, we're basically moving, e-learning and training is being merged with operational productivity and compliance. So we're moving towards safety systems rather than just content. And I won't get into this here, but there's other things that are going on top of training. If you look at occupational health and safety, you got things like, computer vision is now scanning and doing some of the inspections and accident reports. Really, we're trying to identify patterns of risk before an injury and then provide training nudges as opposed to waiting for it to happen. So I won't get into wearables and all that stuff, but that is a factor. Oh, okay, sorry, I don't know why I can't. Okay, here we go. And if you look at the compliance market, like 26% of it is occupational health and safety, anti-harassment, DEI. I think that's much less. I need a certificate. So I think that'll be disrupted by the kinds of things we just saw very easily. Some other areas you need to have sort of a human involvement and a certificate for OSHA and WCBs and so on. So some of this is, you can see, will lend itself better to leveraging just, dynamic content creation and podcasts and other things. Because if you're just trying to shift behavior, you might not need to do formal e-learning. You might be able to allow people to get training as they need it, where they need it, and so on. Whereas other areas, you do need to have a formal course and a formal certificate. So I don't like Gartner, but they're just, I put them, I don't like them because they always have these dramatic, fancy new terms or whatever, but we are going through a structural transformation. We're going from seat license to, they call it results as a service. So how do you go beyond just delivering content? They're talking about, high velocity reskilling, and AI could validate competencies. That's another huge area to make sure that people understand something. We're looking at using it for some of those areas. One of the interesting things as well is we talk about the half-life of skills. So how fast skills skills are changing. So now they're saying the half-life of skills is less than 2.5 years. So they're talking about necessitating, continuous career mapping. I love this sort of hype, where every worker gets an AI digital twin, scanning for gaps and silently updating their knowledge. So my digital twin, I'm just going to state right here, is going to be in Brazil. It is not going to be here. So just to finish, last couple of slides here. So when you look at sort of holding the tradition, we talk about occupational health and safety. I do think that the standardized training and certificates issue remains, because you're looking for audit readiness, and the regulatory directives will want to see that people have verifiable standardized training records, and it's a legal liability issue. And then you're looking at credential verification. So again, more legal. Where's your certificate? How do I know you have what you need to go into a high-risk work site? That's probably not going to change very much in the next little while. But the changing environment is now, you're going to be adding to that continuous learning. So the market moves from just only annual training cycles, go get your working at heights again, go get this again, to continuous learning models that keep pace with changes, and also deal with engagement, because people get bored, it becomes routine. This is my 10th time doing this course again. So how do you make it more interactive and relevant and dynamic and based on what you need? Again, little nudges. So we're responding to some of the engagement hurdles, obviously, with what we showed you in simulation and VR, but also in content credibility and standardization, because AI, that's its sort of its weakness is it really matters who owns this, who's accountable for giving you this information, and can you trust it? And then you get into legal issues if something goes wrong. So when you're in that world, you want standardized content. We always, in everything we do, we try to partner with the leading experts that will give that credibility, and then try to get content endorsed by the right people. So that's always a key part of this. And then I mentioned legal scrutiny. So there's it's a very fast evolving area, but the idea of having a human in the loop, because no one wants to say, well, AI recommended that I fly the plane this way, or I protect myself that way. And I think treating AI without oversight, again, in the occupational health and safety space, is potentially an ethical violation for a lot of organizations. So the final one or two slides here, the opportunity is a safety system mindset. So the training is just part of a system, and companies working in the space, and managers and employers that are interested in this space, are moving from sort of one size fits all. I think Richard talked about just in case training, to adaptive learning, which is just in time, highly focused on your own personal, sort of like me eating the 250 burgers. It would give me tailored advice based on what it knows about me over time. So that's going to be a huge opportunity, and to move beyond sort of training fatigue, because we're all sort of used to the same thing over and over again every so often. How do you reduce fatigue? We looked at sort of reactive systems to predictive. So you can get, based on behaviors, based on data, based on accident data, based on sensors, based on videos, you can move beyond sort of simply waiting for an accident to happen and reporting on it, to gathering data of when do the accidents happen, and some of that is being done by some of our partners, like the Canadian Institute for Safety, Wellness, and Performance. We will have data that accidents happen in this weather condition at this time of night, and when workers are going to work in those conditions, it might give them a little e-learning nudge that's very specific to, it's snowy outside, it's 3 a.m, this is going on, that's going on, that's when you're most at risk, and we can provide micro learning nudges. And then finally, we talked about sort of physical integration with some of the drones and mixed reality and so on. So that is it for me. Happy to take any questions for good weather as a payment.
Nice weather would be great.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes. In Canada here, we have our own things to tackle. But yes, I have a few questions for you just in the chat here, Emad. So this one is from Stan. The nursing VR tool, is this under development, or do you have clients using the solution to train healthcare workers?
Yes, we do. We have clients in Manitoba, Newfoundland, I think soon to be British Columbia. And yeah, we do. It's out.
Oh, that's very cool. And another one from Mackenzie here is Accelerate CR the tool that built the VR or the company where the training is? Nothing is coming up on Google. It's Accelerate CR, the
Oh,
tool that
yeah,
built the
no.
VR.
Yeah, no, it's a brand new offering. We've only been in the space for about a year and a half. We're closing in on 100 nurses. We've been able to demonstrate actually that one of the barriers in getting nurses to fill vacancies, and we're looking at home care and we're looking at LPNs. I think LPNs is almost done now. And some of this is done with partners. Some of this, I mean, all the defense stuff I showed was our own technology. The Accelerate CR, we have, we integrate different tools as well into that, but we've been able to demonstrate that we can shave 28% off the time that a graduate is in preceptorship, and that's the block. Like you're trying to get nurses filled, but you got to get preceptors, which are essentially mentors, and they're busy. They're taking care of their own patients. Now they got to have someone following them around, so it's hard to find them. It slows down our ability to hire. So we've been able to shave that down by 28% because the boot camp, it's a 3-week boot camp, and they can now again 2 or 3 years ago this would have all been an e-learning approach. We would have had e-learning. We do have e-learning as part of that service, but the ability to do 2 weeks of the 3 weeks in a boot camp where you have a nursing educator taking you through that, we can demonstrate value. We figured out as well that we're saving $19,000 per nurse in terms of the onboarding process, because they can get to work earlier. You don't need travel agency nurses in X% of cases and so on. So yeah, it is a really cool thing that AI has enabled, especially the ability just to have a regular conversation with the patient in different mental and emotional states. That's so cool, because that's what the world really is about.
Mm-hmm. No, that's amazing. Yes, finally here, one more question. Is there a tool you recommend for language and localization? And that's from Mackenzie.
Oh my, I wish I had a little bit more context. Yeah, there are a lot of great, well, I'll just use an example. There's so many different, yeah. I'd like to take that one offline and just get a little bit more context for what specifically, because I'll just use an example. In the world of we work a lot with employment centers, and we've seen a whole bunch of like interviewing skills and language skills that relate to getting a job. If you're a new Canadian, for example, there are tools right now where you can practice. It'll not only look at your dialect, the way whether you're understandable. It'll look at how many ums and ums, and you're looking at your phone or you're not paying attention, and it'll obviously look on the quality of what you said. So if it asks you a question like, what are your weaknesses, and you say, I'm pretty lazy, and I don't enjoy, like, it'll say, no, that's not, there's nothing in in our world of wisdom and our sources that say that's a good answer. You should be whatever. So there's all kinds of like niche tools coming in to help people with their communication for various contexts.
Very cool. Very, very cool. I got one more here from Mark. Is this compatible with all VR devices?
If he's talking about the Accelerate CR, we provide it as a service. So we actually provide all of the goggles. We have, because in the healthcare world, we actually started off building technology to say, here you go, education systems, and healthcare systems, you have education people, but we found that they're just so overwhelmed that we are providing the tech support, the goggles. I'm pretty sure it works with multiple goggles, but we provide all that as part of the service.
Perfect. Amazing.
We have
Well, thank
5
you,
nurses
Emad.
on staff. Yeah, sorry. That wasn't my plan a year ago, but we now have 5 nurses on staff, nurse educators. So it's funny but that's the world that AI, I mean, these opportunities, like I said, it's not just radio to TV, you do the same thing. It just creates so many different, it's sort of, again, back to some of what, even though I poo-pooed Gartner, but talking about results as a service, outcomes as a service, I think that's where companies will still be relevant, because some of what we do in our world is going to be automated, and it's going to be, well, I don't need to do your training because I can just go and find something. So where's your value proposition beyond just saying I can build you stuff? Because people saying, well, I don't need you to build me stuff. I can use the great tool that you guys have to build my own stuff, as an example.
Definitely. Definitely. Well, thank you for that amazing presentation. And yeah, we will definitely get back to the additional questions we have in the chat here. We will send those over your way. But to close our speaker lineup, we have Stan from Advanced Medical Certification. He is the head of analytics and growth. So Stan is going to show us how AI is in a mission critical space, what it kind of looks like. Where the stakes are high, accuracy, it's just non-negotiable. So he'll share real production examples, human in the loop, design principles, and how they've built and iterated on AI learning assistant based on real learner behavior. So Stan, the floor is all yours.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, dreadful question. Can you see my screen? Yes, we have. Okay, so thank you very much. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Abbey, for the introduction. My name is Stan. I'm with Advanced Medical Certification. And we are an online platform providing, well, online certifications for medical professionals, as well as life-saving training for basically everyone around the world. And today I'm going to walk you through our AI journey, how we integrated AI, how we approached it, what lessons we learned, and how it allowed us to both improve the productivity of our teams, of how we work, and serve our learners better. And to start, let me get back to the early 2023. So 3 years ago, when generative AI hit, most companies did the same thing. You know, lots of experiments, lots of exciting, but not much that reliably shipped. And we, as a small company, we kind of realized early on that AI, this new technology, will be a huge unlock for us. It will be a huge enabler. And but as everyone else, we were, you know, experimenting with things in silos. Everyone was doing something individually, you know, drafting emails with AI or like using some generative AI tools to generate some content, videos, images, stuff like that. But we realized that we need to kind of put more structure and have some sort of a framework to really start using that, you know, in a more structured way. And a framework that helped us turn all that chaos into the delivery was actually a simple sort of a ladder. So the first stage of that ladder is what we called the individual empowerment, and this is, you know, where people are using AI, like, well, basic tools, ChatGPT, Midjourney, whatever, to automate their own workflows, to improve their own, you know, productivity, their individual productivity. Then the second rung of that ladder is what we call team empowerment, and this is where we kind of putting more structure on all those individual efforts and learnings, and we embed AI into the team workflows and making the teams and the departments work better, smoother, in a more efficient way, with guardrails and with measurement of the results. And the third rung of that ladder is what we call product empowerment, and this is where AI becomes a customer-facing, you know, product feature, product capability, when our learners or users start to interact with AI directly inside our product. So we work in online and medical education, as I said, and trust here is non-negotiable, and that pushed us to stay in this middle rung, in this middle stage, longer than it felt exciting. But it also allowed us to build the reliability and the muscle and the intuition with AI, what it can do, what it can't do, and where it can help us with before we shipped anything like user-facing. And today I'll show you 3 real deployments that came out of this approach. I'll show you 2 team workflow systems that delivered value fast for us, and 1 learning assistant, basically a customer-facing product feature that's already changing what our users and our learners ask for. So starting with the first deployment, we will start on the team empowerment, team workflow level, and we will start with the customer support. So in online medical education, and I think in all education companies, support isn't just an operational overhead. It's not that for us. Like, we treat our customer support as basically the integrated into our product, because people are asking a lot about certifications, deadlines, access to their courses. They have compliance questions, they have accreditation questions, and so on. And the tone and correctness of the answers to those questions matter a lot to us and to our users. At the same time, we are receiving a huge volume of repetitive inquiries from our users. Same types of questions day after day, month after month. And that's where we saw the leverage. That's where we saw AI can really help us. So we have 3 support channels. We have chat, phone, email, basic ones. But the email was by far the highest volume and also the most structured, right? Because if you think about it, like, unlike chat or phone, email is asynchronous by definition, and that kind of made it the most tractable place to start safely. So instead of trying to automate all the support, we started with a much smaller goal in mind. Basically, our question was, can we start drafting replies to the repetitive email tickets in a safe way? And the first version of the system that we built to achieve that goal was deliberately simple. So basically, we built a system that when a new email ticket comes in, the system first runs through the pre-filtering step, where we try to remove all the noisy tickets like automated emails, spam, marketing emails, and we really want to try isolate real customer questions. And then after we pass through that pre-filtering step, the ticket is passed to the AI agent that generates a draft response to the customer's question. And the important thing here is that this agent is grounded strictly in our approved support materials, so like FAQs, internal knowledge base, and the templates that our team was already using. So the AI agent here is not allowed to guess, and if the answer cannot be found or reasonably, inferred from the trusted materials, it should not respond. It should escalate to a human. And every single AI generated response then goes through the human quality assurance before it's sent. So nothing is automated blindly. Our customer support team still reviews, edits the AI generated responses if needed, and only then dispatches the response. Only then we reply. And this human in the loop step was very critical, and not just for the safety, but also it allowed us to learn. It allowed us to sort of build a feedback loop around this whole system, which allows us to evaluate and improve the system continuously. So basically what we did, we started to collect and store 2 things. First, tickets that the agent couldn't answer at all, because those were like not typical questions that weren't included in the training materials. So the agent, because of the guardrails, it couldn't answer that. And second, we started to store responses that were generated by the AI agent, but our team subsequently marked them as incorrect or needing improvement. And then on the regular cadence, we reviewed all the data, again, with the help of AI as well, and updated our FAQs, our templates. And over time, the whole system improved and is continuously improving because our knowledge base becomes clearer and more structured. At the same time, we of course kept the architecture flexible, so we could test new AI models as they become available. But the model choice here was not the only lever. Like, the smarter model helps a lot, but I think the 2 real levers here are the knowledge base quality and the workflow design, the design of the whole workflow with guardrails in place and with human-in-the-loop controls. So to the outcomes, today we answer approximately 60% of all the email tickets are drafted automatically and require minimal or no editing, which allows us to respond to nearly 98% of all email tickets within 20 hours, even 100% on some weeks. And all that with customer satisfaction scores intact. But I think, like, to me personally, the biggest win here and shift wasn't just these metrics. It was the fact that our customer support team stopped spending their energy rewriting the same answers over and over, and instead they were able to focus on edge cases, complex issues, and escalations where human judgment actually, adds value. And that's the key lesson from this deployment. And again, reliability here didn't come from the smarter models alone. It came from the guardrails that we built, from the human oversight, and from that structured feedback loop that allowed us to iterate and improve the whole system. So now let's move to another use case, to another deployment. And now let's move from the support to a slightly different department, to product and analytics. And that's where we, so the second leverage point that we saw for AI integrations and automation wasn't about answering customers. It was more about like listening to them. Because like in most online education companies, like in most online companies, we receive feedback from everywhere. We have public reviews across different platforms. We have post-purchase or post-course completion surveys. We have support tickets, et cetera, et cetera. And that's a lot of open text responses and open text feedback in different languages, even from our customers and learners. And we always felt that there is enormous value in that data, because that's real learners telling us what's confusing, what's broken, what they love, what they wish existed. And the problem here wasn't the lack of the feedback, it was the overload with the feedback. So every month we were receiving those hundreds, sometimes thousands of feedback text responses. And the traditional way in the pre-AI era was to process that in a manual review. So, we sampled, we read maybe a few dozen of these comments, maybe 100 if we pushed it. But that meant we are leaving insights on the table. And we were blind to the patterns that were hiding in this full corpus and this full data set of the feedback that we received. So, and realistically, our analytics or product or marketing teams, they couldn't spend their entire weeks just reading all that text, right? But guess who is really good at reading and summarizing tons of text for you? Well, AI, it's LLMs, right? That's what they're built for. So we decided to systematize and automate this listening process. So we built a pipeline that aggregates all of the voice of the customer data in one clean source. So it gets data from all the different systems, and it all looks very different. All those surveys, reviews, feedback, we normalize it, we clean it, we deduplicate it, and then we pass that through the AI analysis layer. And our goal here is not to just generate the summaries of all that bunch of text, but to do a structured extraction, right? So our AI agent, our system, looks for recurring topics, frequency of the issues, severity signals, suggested improvements, or some emerging feature requests from our users. So instead of the wall of the comments, what product and marketing and leadership team receives is a prioritized summary with clear themes, clear counts, clear examples, and actionable recommendations. So we didn't remove humans from all this process. We just basically changed and shifted where humans spend their time, right? Instead of reading through all those thousands of comments, we can now review a structured summary of the top 10 topics. And if something looks important, we can drill into the raw examples if needed. And this is now the part of our regular weekly and monthly product reviews. And customer feedback is now not just like an afterthought, which we review, after we pushed something to production or a new feature added to the website or to the product, but it's now a standing input rather into our roadmap and feature prioritization conversations. And this actually led us to two types of impact, actually. First is what I call operational impact, because there were instances and examples where this system surfaced some recurring complaints. One of the examples was the complaints about the specific friction point in our checkout flow. It wasn't dramatic enough to trigger alarms in our analytics dashboards, but it showed up consistently in the feedback, basically preventing some customers from completing the purchase, actually, because they were annoyed with this friction point. It turned out to be a relatively simple fix, and once addressed, we saw a measurable recovered revenue. And we have had a couple of examples like that. But second, and most importantly, there was the strategic impact of this system, because the patterns in all that feedback from our learners surfaced some of the feature ideas that weren't obvious to us from the quantitative data alone. So some of those ideas are now on our roadmap and are actively being prioritized and built. So to summarize this part, AI didn't replace the product judgment. It rather amplified our ability to listen to our customers at scale. So instead of sampling a small slice of the feedback, we now process nearly all of it. We then combine these qualitative patterns that we extract from all that feedback with quantitative data, and that fundamentally changes the quality of our decisions and roadmap conversations. And now, last but not least, moving to that third rung of the ladder, the product empowerment. So after building this muscle internally with the internal workflows, with support automation, with voice of the customer analysis, we really felt eager and ready to ship something directly into the product. And well, in online education, if you teach, right, if you should be able to support learners in real time, ideally. So learning assistant or like AI tutor felt like a natural AI feature to us. We were inspired by examples like Khan Academy's AI assistant, which they call KhanMigo, and others. And so our goal was to the promise basically of such assistance is that instead of leaving the course to Google something that you don't understand, learner can stay inside the learning experience. They can ask questions, they can get clarification, they can generate practice questions or quizzes to retain knowledge better. They can generally dive deeper into the course, into the learning. So we built a scrappy MVP around that, basically a chatbot style learning assistant embedded directly into our LMS, into our courses. And the goal, again, was simple: help learners understand concepts better and encourage deeper engagement inside the course environment so that they don't have to leave if they don't understand something. But we also wanted to approach this carefully because, medical education, it has higher safety expectations. So we put strong guardrails in place. We trained the assistant. We instructed it that it should be like learning only. It cannot give medical advice. It cannot. It should be grounded in our course materials, etc., etc. Right? So we built all that. We launched an MVP, and we watched the behavior of our users. And here is where it got really interesting, because we assumed initially that this would be a premium feature, right? Our hypothesis was that our paid users, doctors who maintain their certification for their licensing needs and compliance, they would value it most. But the data told us a slightly different story. Firstly, well, to start off with some positive metrics, roughly 60% of the conversations continued beyond 3 messages. So they were engaged chats, and around 50% of those engaged users asked the assistant to generate practice or quiz questions. So they were kind of, engaging deeper with the content and trying to actually learn and retain knowledge better. We also saw the increased time spent on lesson pages that supported our hypothesis that users would stay inside the course rather than leaving to search for something they don't understand elsewhere. But the story here isn't just about the positive metrics. It's also what we learned. And first thing that we learned here was the quite unexpected learning was that the strongest engagement actually came from users in our free learning flow. And to explain that briefly, we basically have 2 major segments. So we have paid users who are often experienced professionals, doctors, nurses, and they're primarily focused on refreshing their knowledge and getting the certification that they need for their job. But we also have free learners who go through the full educational experience. They have the same course, same learning materials, but they don't receive that certification card in the end. And the free learners are actually the ones who engaged far more deeply with the assistant. And in the hindsight, it kind of makes sense, right? They hear those people, those learners are here to learn. They read more, they explore more, they ask more. So the feature that we imagined as a premium turned out to create more value for the free learner segment, and that kind of forces us to rethink the positioning of it and the monetization of it, of course, because AI costs money, right? It's not set and forget. It actually each message basically costs a few cents. Second learning was that, well, if it looks like a chatbot, users will treat it like one, right? So even with the clear disclaimers, this is a learning assistant, this is not a customer support, users still ask support-related questions sometimes. So now in the next iterations of it, we need to design for that reality rather than fighting it, and we should design carefully around that. And the third learning was that, well, context matters a lot. On desktop, the assistant feels helpful based on the data and feedback, but on mobile devices, mobile experience, it can feel intrusive, can be annoying. Smaller screens, they amplify friction. So mobile experiences require a different level of design sensitivity, sort of. So if you know, for example, that you have a mobile app, or your majority of your learners use mobile devices, you need to design carefully around that as well. So we are still iterating here. This is not a finished success story. We see some positive signals, some positive signs, and we know that this is useful for our learners. But again, as I said, we need to rethink the positioning. We need to rethink the monetization. We will keep iterating on this. But the key insight here is that when you push AI to the customer-facing features, it's not like just automating tasks for your internal workflows and teams, right? It can change users' behavior. It can change engagement patterns. It can even reveal who your real learners are, and you have to be ready for that. And the most valuable outcome for us here wasn't just this engagement lift that we see on these metrics, but it was actually learning more about our users. So to wrap it up, if we zoom out from all these three deployments, the support automation, the voice of the customer analysis, and the learning assistant, the pattern here is basically that we use this laddered framework, the individual productivity, team workflows, and then the product-facing AI, because in our trust-sensitive domain, we basically stayed in this middle stage longer than it felt exciting, because reliability is what makes AI real and actually useful to our learners and to ourselves internally. Across all the three deployments, another core lesson was also that the value of those AI features and their results, they didn't come from the AI models themselves, right? Again, smarter AI models definitely help, but in all three cases, AI wasn't the magic. The actual magic, like we couldn't have, of course, like it was very important, right? Because we couldn't have built all that stuff without AI. But the magic was the workflow that we built around this AI, generative AI, the guardrails that we put in place, and the feedback loop that was then also integrated into it. So what I'm trying to say that AI was definitely the engine here, but it was not the steering wheel. And like we need to use this like great technology with proper workflow design around it and proper feedback loops in place to really make it work. So if you're navigating AI adoption, I'd encourage you to consider this laddered approach as well. So build the capacity and reliability with AI internally first, build that muscle, build that intuition until it feels boring, and then ship user-facing features if you need them. And once you do ship those user-facing features, be ready to learn the unexpected things about your learners, because you as well might. So thank you very much. That's all from me, and I think we have 5 minutes or a couple of more minutes for questions, which we shall gladly take.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that thoughtful and grounded perspective in AI implementation, Stan. That was phenomenal. I'm sure lots of people learned a bunch from that. So I got a handful of questions here. So for a healthcare professional who might be skeptical, how can AI help ensure that someone learning online is just as prepared for real world emergency as someone who trained in a traditional classroom? And how does your team make sure that the AI training tools you build are 100% accurate and keep up with the latest medical guidelines? I can repeat it as well.
Yeah, that's many questions in one. I'll try to answer all that. So yeah, of course, again, because the healthcare in general it requires even more rigor from online education, and especially from AI tools, because as today during previous conversations, they might hallucinate, they might have problems like that. But like when we were building our courses and when we built and we integrated the AI features into the course, the AI learning assistant, it's why we put the extreme emphasis and applied extreme rigor to actually grounding our AI assistant, our AI learning in the latest guidelines, latest regulations. In this space, we are mainly in the life-saving skills training. So things like CPR, basic life support, advanced cardiac life support. So all of our courses are strictly following the ILCOR guidelines, the AHA guidelines, and we did grounded our learning assistant in those materials as well. And we were carefully monitoring its responses every day to make sure that it doesn't provide medical advice, and to make sure that when it provides the responses to the user's questions, they are grounded in our course materials and also in those latest guidelines from AHA, from ILCOR, which were actually updated just recently, and we also updated them in our courses and in our learning assistant. So that's what we're trying to do. Again, it's basically we're applying the same methodology, the same approach to both our courses and to our AI learning assistant, is to ground them as much as possible in the latest guidelines and regulations in this space.
Amazing. Sounds good. Well, we are getting close to our time today. I don't want to take up too much of everyone's time. So I'm going to compile a list of the rest of the questions that were submitted, and I will send those over to you, and we'll get those in a document and we'll send them out to everyone. So that kind of brings us to our home stretch. What an incredible 2 hours it has been, everyone. I want to say a huge, huge thank you to our 4 speakers, Jon, Richard, Emad, and Stan, for generously sharing their time, their expertise, and some really, really impressive demos. That was fantastic. We are so very grateful for each and every one of you. And another shout out to our sponsors at Safety for helping us put on this event. So yay, Morgan. And thank you all who have joined us today, whether you're just beginning to explore AI training or you're already knee-deep in implementation. I hope today gave you guys some really fresh ideas and practical tools and maybe some inspiration to bring back to your guys' teams. So stepping back a few threads just for all 4 sessions today, AI is no longer a future concept. It's already running in production across industries, and the most effective implementations keep humans in the loop. So the organizations seeing the best results are the ones using AI to augment their people, not replace them. So we'll make sure every unanswered question gets compiled and sent to the appropriate speaker, and everyone will receive responses by email. So even if you didn't get your questions answered today, I promise they will get answered and they're not going anywhere. So you'll receive a link to today's recording so you can rewatch any sessions that or share them with your colleagues that interested you, and keep watch on your inbox for any follow-up for those questions. Before we sign off here, I'd love to mention one more thing. If today sparked your interest and you want to keep the conversation going in person, we'd love to see you at the BIS Safety Summit Workforce in Transition this May. It's coming up right here in Edmonton, which is great. It's going to be a fantastic opportunity to connect with peers, hear from industry leaders, and explore what is shaping the future of safety and workforce development. So all details are shared in the chat there. I think one of my team members threw in the link along with a promo code. So definitely go ahead and see those. So thank you again so much for everyone being here today. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay safe out there, and we hope to see you guys in Edmonton in May. So take care, everyone. Thank you so much. See you.